tried that.
I like stuffed all my goals with, steel wool.
What's that?
That's why I wanted them out.
Yeah.
Well, I stuffed it, cause I don't want them to drill and find another hole to get out, make another way to get out.
Yep.
Yeah, I tried the WD.
You got a lot of stuff online.
Yep.
Gonna do a
Spraying with beach
gonna do
spray
a
and
splash pad.
eventually we got rid of most of them.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I'm glad Rob showed up. He's gonna have to do a lot of talking. Yeah.
You got a haircut.
Did you go?
I did. Looked like a very obvious once I got back there. Just never been back there. I think you called me.
Oh, yeah, up around the road.
And don't turn the whole power strip off for the beggar. Some plug
I don't know if there's one or two. Yeah, they went bankrupt.
Put a label for a reason. So someone's obviously done
But
it.
like, there's a lot of twisted, taken down.
No, shall I tonight?
Do you know who bought it? Or,
I don't know who owns it right now.
really?
Next year I did own it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who's Jamie,
We have the recorder.
They paved, Sunrise Avenue today.
Yeah.
Sunrise Lane.
You were fast, didn't you?
Good.
Well, I anticipate a problem.
How are you ladies?
I think you have to.
Good.
I think I made a batch of agendas. I had a funny feeling. I did a funny feeling. I wonder if I should make more. No, let us know. There was 20 there.
My bar was trying to do an update on the dog. After he wanted nothing to do with it. So, are they still on schedule? They had said they wanted to open, you know.
I'm not, I haven't talked to anybody.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like the.
We good? Good to go?
Sewer.
On the roadhouse any night after 8 o'clock during the week, and all the workers are staying there, and that's where they're eating. I think
So
they're.
you probably don't.
Yeah. I think they're.
The island, right?
They're
Three gentlemen right
getting in there, they're
Fighting on it.
yeah, they're trying, the goal is to be done and ready to be open by November 28th.
That's what I heard November.
That way in the beginning.
Yep,
Yeah, I
And then
reckon.
all of a sudden they're working weekends too.
yep.
Where they come up with their.
Some of the crews are here from like the Virginia, like they do McDonald's everywhere, and they're used to their specs and their thing, and they've got them in.
I can tell.
So, and they're moving right along.
Is that where you're going for Thanksgiving this year?
It would be easy.
And
They do that in Japan.
backwards, I don't know why, I don't do it. And I had a break.
All the Japanese do it. KFC.
I got that.
Now they line up for like half a mile.
All right, time for a new chair.
Hit all the
Hey,
KFC.
right where I want to be.
Yeah.
Trip to the car.
Last night the villagers over to your
Have any little grandchildren just found on your back?
What's that?
You know, little grandchildren that just found on your
No,
back?
no, I don't. Did
The
they?
child Alexandria, they hired you. Chamber building. Good to know.
I didn't know that. I'm glad I come to these meetings.
Mike didn't call you today?
You're good.
I met with him last week, out there, last week. Took a look at things. Good little project.
Don't we own the chamber there?
This is the old chamber.
Oh, the old one.
Yeah.
Boxers.
Where that street is. The name of that
Your
street.
clocks are fast, so we keep leaving.
It's not considered market, is it? Market doesn't go all the way, it is market?
They've got their address on Market Street.
Direct sub street, that's what I call it. Direct street.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the Town of Alexandria Board meeting for October 15th, 2025. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Motion to approve and pay the abstract and bills. Motion by Tim, second by Jean. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Motion to approve the town board meeting minutes.
I'll make
Motion
that.
by Jean, second by Tim. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. First point of business here is a public hearing, number 1, at 6 p.m. for the 2026 Town of Alexandria budget. Notice is hereby given that the preliminary budget for the Town of Alexandria, Jefferson County, New York, and preliminary budgets for the Redwood Water District, Route 12 Water District, Carnegie Bay Water District, Otter Street Water District, Edgewood Water District, and the Redwood Sewer District, and Route 12 Sewer District for fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2026, has been completed and filed in the office of the town clerk, where it is available for inspection by any interested person during normal business hour. Preliminary budgets will also be on the town's website at townofalexandria.org. So I need a motion to open the public hearing for the budget. Motion by Tim. Need a second? Second by Jean. All those in favor? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, none. Public hearing is open for the budget for 2026. Does anybody have anything to say or ask? We're gonna leave the public hearing open.
When do you want me to talk about water, when do you want me to talk about water and sewer stuff? You want this now, or do you wanna do it during water and sewer later on?
Going through each one. We could save that because we have a lot of people here that are here for something else.
Okay.
Yep, that's okay. So next, maybe I should just go to public concerns and let the people here talk. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
So they don't, because we could be a while on this budget stuff, so. Because of that, I'm gonna ask for public concerns. Anybody have any public concerns? And I think maybe Rob could talk to them about, Swan Bay. Is anybody here for things besides Swan Bay? Tim, okay, and Tim, Rob can talk to you about that. Okay, go ahead, Rob.
So what do you want me to talk about first?
Any questions for Swan Bay? Just tell them where we're at, it's pretty
All right,
brief.
quick Swan Bay update. So we met with the DEC, Army Corps of Engineers, and Department of State on September 23rd, was it?
On or about.
Yeah, I think it was 23rd. And, they all looked at the project site. We explained to them what we wanted to do, and, they have concerns. I will say that they're concerned about replacing the culvert and what the impacts will be, both upstream and downstream. They really wouldn't commit one way or another, or tell us that it was permittable or not, but we are expecting a piece of correspondence from them within the next month, hopefully. So they'll be telling us what their concerns are. I know one of them was the downstream wetland was a concern of theirs, and by putting that culvert in, how would it impact the downstream wetland? But there were a lot of other things. They did have some ideas that they'd like to share as far as improving the water quality in Swan Bay. They did talk a lot about that and about the nature of the invasive species that are taking over. So they did mention getting together at a later date to go through other strategies for improving the water quality in Swan Bay, other than just the culvert. But right now, we're waiting to hear from them formally in writing, whether or not they feel it's a permittable project, so, kind of in limbo. I don't
And
know
they
if there's
told
any
us,
questions.
and they told us they'd give us something in writing.
Yep, they did say that.
And we told them we
Yep.
needed it sooner than later.
Yeah, so we do. You know, the town board's concerned about expending town funds, obviously, for any more work that we have to do, would have to do. So, kinda doing nothing until we hear back officially from the DEC is the primary driver here, 'cause of the environmental concerns. So,
Maybe this is not kosher or whatever, but is there a contact name, like if the public would like to contact the DEC and express
Sure, you can-
their
you can-
concerns?
Sure, you can talk to, you know, the regional director, Randy Youngs. He's the top of the food chain there. The head of permitting is Jessica Hart, okay? She's the head of permitting. Our contact was Molly Farrell, but Molly took another position, and I'm not sure who our direct contact has been, who's been reassigned. So Molly's gone.
Who came to visit?
There's a long list of people, I can give you those names, I have them written down. Molly Farrell was there, but there were people from fisheries, there were biologists there, and there were a couple people from permitting, I think. It was quite a team effort.
Thank you.
But I would contact Randy Young or Jessica Hart. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah. Any other questions?
Hi, Judy, so did they give you, I know you said we asked sooner or later, so they have no, like, standard that they reply, once they do a site visit, like, within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, or there's nothing standard like that?
Not to my knowledge. I think there is a statute that says how long they have to reply to the permit, but it's like 6 months they have, so.
But that's for the permit itself?
Yeah, so I don't think there's any time requirement on this reply.
So we won't go any further than, or you won't go any further than, like, with water testing, or any of the things that they had outlined earlier that would need to?
No, not until we hear
Not till we hear
whether
from
it's
them.
permittable or not, right?
If I could ask you one more question.
Sure.
You had brought it before, and it was in the document that, for the landowners who may be impacted depending on where that culvert lands, having to give permissions. There was also a statement there about legal responsibility. Can you just explain that a little better, what that means?
Well, I think, you know, the town's responsibility, and this is my opinion, okay, really lies within the right-of-way of the road.
Mhm.
Okay, the width of the right-of-way. They really don't have any jurisdiction beyond the limits of the road right-of-way. So the responsibility beyond that, and I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but, you know, there'd have to be, if the culvert was put in and there was dredging on either both the upstream and downstream ends, they'd have to get permission from those property owners, right, as well as from the Department of State, DEC, Army Corps, et cetera.
Yeah, yeah, the permission from them, which at this point,
Yeah.
those folks are in favor of the project. But it read to me like that they somehow would bear further some kind of legal responsibility for the property, because it was on their property. Is that, am I just reading it wrong?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
That's a
It was
legal
in that
question.
response letter, it was in that, from the first, when they sent the permit asking for more drawings and all that.
Correct,
There was a
correct.
statement in there about getting permissions, but it.
I'd have to reread it and see what
Yeah,
context it was.
Just curious what that would mean for,
Yeah.
you know, for them, just so we would understand that better.
I expect we're gonna get a letter from them in the next, probably by the next board meeting, if I were to guess.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, anything else on that?
Tim, you,
Just to see what's going on with the water sewer going down Dingman Point where it's staying.
Sure, so the survey is pretty much complete. I don't think we've gotten any survey results recently, right, within the last few weeks.
No.
So it's on me now, we're putting a map together, Tim, to see who wants it and who doesn't, to see if, you know, if it makes sense for the town to do a district formation. That's the next step, and then what the cost would be to do that. So it's multiple steps, so the town wants to go forward based on the survey results, which the survey results, I believe there was more than 50% in favor, right? So the town will look at the data, see where the people are, and then if they wanna go further, we have to do what's called a map plan and report, and a district formation report. We also have to do an estimate of cost, what the capital cost would be to run down there. And do an estimate based on funding, what the funding might be, and what the user cost would be, okay? So that's all packaged up in this little map plan and report that we have to do. And then from that point, there'd be a public hearing again, for that district formation, and then the town can decide whether there's ample support to move forward. The town board can move on their own motion, or they can circulate a petition, a formal petition, to see if there's 51% of the property owners and 51% of the assessed value that's in favor, or they can hold a referendum. Those are kind of the three ways that they can form the district. Once the district is formed, then there's you have to apply for funding to do the work, because there's no way that they could borrow enough money to finance the whole project. So. And believe me, it's a long process, Tim. And you can ask the folks here from Meadow Lane Park how long the process is. We've been trying to get them sewer for quite a few years, so same process.
How far down, are you doing all of 12?
Well, that's a good point, a good question. So the town did secure another $1 million to start that project, right, from the old fins towards the village, to get to Swan Bay Estates Mobile Home Park, because there's the units that the Prestes are adding. So we did get a response from Rural Development, which said the project right now, because of limited funding, unless we get other funding from other agencies, or we phase the project, that they don't see where they can participate. That's USDA Rural Development, that's federal money. We do have some pending applications in, okay, with WIA, and WIA, I think it is, another state program, okay, we're waiting to hear back on that. That it can supply up to $10 million, which would go a long way. It would probably make it happen if we get that funding. If we didn't get that funding, then what we're probably gonna have to do is look to see if we can phase the project, you know, and kind of get the Swan Bay piece done first, probably, and then do the balance, you know, to include Key Wade in the second phase. So we aren't quite there yet until we hear from the funding agencies back on this last grant round that was submitted at the end of July. It was submitted, and I expect we'll hear probably sometime in December on that. But regardless, the town is moving ahead with extending the main towards Swan Bay Estate. Okay, so we're committed to do that piece, right? But obviously, we'd like to get further, get more funding to get further.
So are there maps now of that? Or
No, not yet. No, not yet. We're gonna be working on those.
Any other questions?
Haven't heard any updates on the arena, on when they decided that they're gonna start?
We're waiting for the architect engineer to come back to us, I believe, right? Yeah, I think we'll probably know something by next month. Yeah.
Oh, 'cause I heard a rumor.
They've been down there doing a lot of measuring and doing a lot of things the last 2 weeks with his workers, as far as putting some plans together and design. So, yep. Anything else? Okay, we'll go on with our meeting. We did the public hearing on the budget, we left that open. Further notice hereby given the town.
I mean, I guess, Brent.
I'm sorry.
Do you want me to? No, I think the folks from Meadow Lane wanna.
Oh, okay.
This would be, I guess, point where Chris Lauren, Meadow Lane Park,
just a point to put on public record, the need for potentially Meadow Lane Park being included in a portion of that sewer expansion for the degenerating systems within the, whatever you wanna call it, north side of the road over there, including Bayview, Pinehurst, Meadow Lane Park.
So, Brent,
That's the letter that we.
correct, we got a letter, we did submit that letter to the DEC, by the way, thank you for writing that. We got a quick letter back saying, well, we can't include it in this grant round that's currently under review, although we did include your previous letter. So, you know, Brent and I met with these folks
Yeah.
about a month ago, just before the last meeting, and, you know, they voiced their desire more than once to, be included, so I think that's depending on how this funding shakes out, I think we need to see what we can do to get them included, because that's where the need is in that Swan Bay corridor. So break the project up in, 2, maybe even 3 phases, right? There's a lot of real estate along Route 12 after you get past St. Lawrence Park, you know, there's not a lot of usage on that. Well, Keewaydin is the other big user that we'd like to be able to pull in, you know, and they could probably carry that other stretch of main line. So anyway, that's where we are. So.
Okay, good. Any other questions, anybody? Okay, moving along.
We'll keep you guys posted to what happens. Thanks.
Further notice is hereby given the town board of said town of Alexandria will hold a public hearing on, there at 6 p.m. on October 15th, the town of Alexandria Town Office Building in Jefferson County, Alexandria Bay. And that such hearing, any person may be heard in favor or against the preliminary budget as completed or any items therein contained. Further notice is hereby given pursuant of section 113 of the town law that the following are proposed salaries of the town office of the town of Alexandria. And those notices were all published in the paper, and then we have them published on the bulletin board. Okay, so we're gonna leave that public hearing open. Okay? We'll move on to the next public hearing for the tax cap override. Please take note that the town board of the town of Alexandria will conduct a public hearing on October 15th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at the town municipal office at 46372 County Route 1, Alexandria Bay, New York, 13607, to hear public comments in connection with the local law number 2 of 2025, a local law to override the 2026 tax cap limit. Town Board of Alexandria, October 1st. That notice was sent out. This is a formality that we have been doing every year for a long time, in the event that when we get down to the end of our budget year, which will be November 15th, November 20th roughly, before we adopt it, that will end up over the tax cap, which would be a tax cap override that we're asking. We don't plan on doing that. I think right now our tentative budget is a little bit over the tax cap. But I think we all have adjustments and things that we've talked about that we're gonna do some fine tuning. Does that make sense? Okay. So I need a motion to open the public hearing. Motion by Gene, second by Tim. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, none. Public hearing is open. Any comments from the public on the tax cap override?
Ignorant question, what is the percentage of, where's the tax cap?
Well, when they started it was 2%, but now they've thrown so many different things into it that it ends up not being 2%. Is that correct, Sandy?
Boy, way to put me on.
I mean, if you just take.
Like what happened a few years ago, to give an example, some of our water and sewer districts, we started doing their capital on their taxes. And when you do that, they consider that as part of your tax cap. So it actually threw us way over. This is strictly a precautionary thing, because sometimes they throw things in that even the town accountant isn't aware of until after the fact. And if you don't do this as a precaution, like that particular year, we thought we were good. We had done all of this. I didn't send in the local law because I thought, oh, we're under the tax cap, we don't need to. We had done it, and then the state called me and said, you didn't file a local law, your tax rate is too high, and we were like, what? And I'm like, no, we did do it, I did, you know, so it's just best to cover our tracks. You know, I will say the board is very good at trying to keep the rates down, but so that you don't get caught in January with, hey, you went over because a lighting district or a sewer district was charged something that you weren't aware, that you knew you were
Just a little
doing.
insurance.
Yeah, so
Avoid
it's
the-
really an insurance
We had the
policy.
fire department, budget affect us one year also, unexpectedly. Because we felt we were under it substantially and not with the fire district. But the one thing that's very misleading about this is this was created, I forget how many years ago, but it's a 2% tax cap. Well, everybody thinks you just take your tax rate and you use the 2% and, you know, a function, and that's the way you get the number. That's not the way. The formula is really complicated. It's got a lot of things in it. That's the best I can explain it.
Government.
Yeah. I mean, they take inflation rate, there is a lot of, I have no beginning of understanding of the way they do it, and I've tried. That's why
The nice
I'm
thing
saying-
about it is the budget that we work on, the formula sheets and the budget sheets that we work on, at the bottom of those sheets, they tell us where we are in relation to the tax cap. So when we get working on the budgets and we wanna do this and wanna do that and don't wanna do that, it tells us after we input that data where we're at. So that's very handy for us.
Thank you.
Some other things that's factored into that, is, the prior year's tax levy, the tax base growth factor, that accounts for the new construction, certain, exclusions such as specific pension costs or court orders, and then available carryover from prior years' unused levy limit. So the override process, just like we already talked about, we need to
Takes
do
a
that
lot
to
of-
protect us, that way if we are over, which we're not trying to be over, even if it's the minutest of things, we have the ability to do it because we've put into this local law into effect, so. Formality, but necessary formality.
Yep. Any other questions on the tax cap?
Great
Or on this
question.
motion? Otherwise, we take a motion for the tax cap. Motion by Tim, second by Jean. In favor, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no.
Should be roll call.
for,
Oh, I'm sorry.
for local law. Supervisor Sweet,
Yes.
Councilman Kring,
Yes.
Councilman Davidson,
Yes.
Councilman Honeyman,
Yes.
Councilman Thomas is absent. Okay. So this also, well, we've only got a 5-man board, but normally local laws, you have to have a majority vote, super majority rather than just a majority. So that's why it's important that we had this many here tonight.
Okay, moving on. Assessor report here. Are we reading these?
On the website.
Yes, it's all on the website.
I'm sorry, what?
They're all on the website.
Yeah.
The
all these
only
reports are on
thing
the
I
website.
would ask that you point out on that assessor's report, 'cause there has been confusion on the senior citizens exemption rate, because the state, we all thought the state was taking it over, and according to her report, and I had a phone call on this today, somebody had received it in the mail, a senior, and they're like, we don't know where to send it. And after I read this today, I'm like, oh, 'cause I told her to send it back here and we would get it where it needed to go, 'cause I tried to look it up online. But March 1st is the deadline for senior citizens to get that exemption certificate into us.
So we're handling that here.
Apparently, 'cause that's what she said right here,
I was gonna say, because before that, yep,
and the renewals are going out, 'cause I
So
got a
that's
phone call
changed.
today.
okay,
Great point.
yes, definitely, thank you. Got a highway report. Zoning report, water report, sewer report, DBW report, transfer site, and a rec center report, and a clerk report, and they're all with documents on our website. Anybody have any questions, feel free to ask. Old business, we're gonna move it down to Rob Campany and his line items.
I did most of them.
I know you did.
So we pulled the plug on the,
Yes.
And,
Done.
Signs done.
I got an email.
yeah, we pulled the plug on that one. We covered the culvert, Dingman Point sewer expansion, Swan Bay Resort. We'll pull the odor data off. We're gonna wait till the end of the month, because I think they have an event there at the end of the month. So we're gonna pull the data and we'll issue a report.
Going back to what you just said about the pull the plug, because there's a lot of people that are asking, probably some are watching. We pulled the plug on the radar signs that we've been working with the state of New York for a year and a half. And we just can't seem to satisfy their requirements. So we're gonna build our own portable signs, like we already own 3 of, and go that route. Because it was crazy what they were asking us to do. And what really gets me is I drive through a lot of other communities on state roads and they got those signs. And I always ask them how they got them. Because we've been dealing with them for a year and a half.
Different region.
Yep. Anything else, Rob?
How are we doing on the sewer readings up there, Rob? Still right where we were before?
As far as the odor,
Mm-hmm.
we did get a call a couple weeks ago, but we'll pull the data and I'll share that with you. I mean, that was the first call we got in
Yeah.
months, so.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And there was a smell. I was there. That's what it is.
We'll see what it is.
It's a sewer plant.
Yeah, exactly. You good, Rob?
I'm good,
Okay.
if anybody has questions.
Zoning ordinance, update from Tom Gardner. I don't have anything, that committee didn't meet in this break, and they're meeting next week, I believe he said. Attorney Silver is reviewing breach, reserve, and amended policies. You all have them on your, and the amendment to Redwood Sewer Ordinance, you all have them on your Chromebooks. For the Redwood Sewer Ordinance, we have to do a local law, so we have to introduce it first, which we'll do that tonight, and we'll set a public hearing for the local law for our next meeting. Okay. Has everybody looked at these 3 policies that I'm talking about right here? The breach, the reserve, and just the breach and the reserve. If you've looked at them, the attorneys have looked at them, they've approved them, then we'll take a motion to accept the policies.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Tim to accept, which one? Both, the breach and the reserve policy.
Correct.
Yep. Second? Dale?
I'll second.
Second by Dale. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. The next is I'd like to introduce that local law, Sadie. You.
What I would do is so it's gonna be local law number 3 of 2025, and it is we took, our sewer ordinance for Redwood was about, 20 years old?
92, I think.
Yeah,
1990.
so it was and changes, I mean, we've grown, we've evolved, and it was much easier to just take a new template and modify it, a nowadays template, and modify it to our situation. With the way we're operating now, with the way we do our EDUs, the way we do our capital, payback for bonds, and that's all in the new. So it's a brand new ordinance. That's why apparently, which I didn't know, we have to have a local law for that. So it's, is it on the website? I think.
It's on the very top of the first page of our website.
Okay,
Just got
so
put there this morning.
It's 40 pages long. I don't think you want us to read that to introduce it. It's on the website. The basic stuff for sewer is the same. But it's just bringing it, what we've done is just bring it all together and make it clear, and instead of having a couple of amendments, we just made it all into one. And I would just say go onto the website and it's there. It's gonna be a local law number 3 of 2025, to replace
So can I take a motion to introduce the local law and
Absolutely.
note that it is published on our website on the top of the first page?
Yep.
I take a motion to introduce the local law for the new Redwood Sewer Ordinance.
Yep.
Motion by Tim, second by Gene. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. This is something that we've been working on for quite a while. Sandy's got a lot of time into this, and so does Rob. Just wanna say thank you to everybody who's worked on this. We had a small committee, Jamie and Jay were involved. There's a lot to this. We've solved some situations that our other ordinance put us in. We took some gray areas and we put some good definitions on actually charges and what we did there. So, we're good there. Tax cap override, we already did. New business, Jefferson County Joint Services Agreement. Somebody got that on their computer?
Sure we all do, till we get to it.
Should be there.
Right here.
Got it?
You wanna read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
What resolution number is this gonna be?
2026.
2026. So this is authorizing the joint service agreement with the town of Alexandria for optional county assessment services to the town of Alexandria pursuant of real property tax law 1537. Whereas the pursuant of the New York State real property tax law 1537, an assessing unit in the county shall have the power to enter in and amend and cancel and terminate an agreement for the appraisal services, exemption services, or assessment services, and such agreement shall be considered as an agreement for the provision of a joint services pursuant of New York State General Multipurpose Law, Article G5. And whereas the town of Alexandria desires the county to assume the duties of the town assessor on an interim basis for the purpose of providing exemption and assessment services through the staff of the County of Real Property Tax Services, and has been enacted in a resolution on September 17th, 2025. Whereas the town will compensate the county $20 per parcel for the first year, and whereas the town will compensate the county an amount to be agreed upon by both parties for subsequent years, and whereas the joint services agreement will be for the period of 3 years from October 1st, 2025 through September 30th, 2028, subject to an extension for 2 additional 3-year periods upon written agreements of both parties. Now therefore be it resolved that the chairman of the Board of Legislators is hereby authorized and directed to execute said agreement with the town of Alexandria upon the aforementioned terms, subject to the approval of the county attorney as to form and content.
So we need a motion to accept this resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Dale, second by Tim. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Moving on to the next item. I'm just gonna read this about falsely reporting an incident. I think that the joint district is going to come up with a regulation or whatever it is. Do you know, Sandy, what they're talking about doing for this falsely reporting? They're getting a lot of false calls.
Yeah, they're hoping that both the town and the village will, I don't know if they consider it, it'll probably have to be a local law, I would think.
That's what they're asking for, yeah.
That's what they're looking for us to pass a local law so that,
There's a fine structure, isn't there?
there is, and I think there needs to be a little bit more research and stuff, input for us, but they're getting a lot of calls that are not emergencies. I mean, imagine an elderly person who doesn't hear well, and their smoke alarm is going off. They think it's a cricket. And they call 911 because there's a cricket in their house. And they're getting you know, these volunteers out of bed in the middle of the night because there's a cricket in my house and it's keeping me awake. These are the kind of calls that they're getting. They're not emergency calls. And we understand that, or they understand that, you know, things happen once in a while, but there are certain people that they are repeating offenders. You know, you get one pass, you get a warning. The third time, they're looking for some sort of fee that, you know, maybe they'll call their children or someone else instead.
They're talking about putting something together for the village and the town to look at for enforcement for falsely reporting an incident. Falsely reporting an incident is a criminal offense that can lead to a serious legal consequences, including misdemeanor or felony charges, depending on the severity of the false report. Legal definition under New York Penal Law, Section 240.50, a person is guilty of falsely reporting an incident in the third degree when they knowingly report false information about an alleged occurrence or condition, such as a crime or emergency that did not actually occur. This offense is classified as a Class A misdemeanor. And there's all types of degrees of falsely reporting: third, second degree, first degree, and this is what they're working on, and I don't really have much more information than that, and we'll see when they bring us something for the public. This is a problem they've got, so.
I think they're hoping too, that if they just get the word out that this is a problem, and maybe people talk about it, and become aware of it, you know, check on your neighbors, be neighborly. I don't think people are as neighborly as they used to be. When people need help, help them.
Okay, moving on here, junkyard permit number 3. I think you all have that in front of you. Wills Record LLC, Allen Road, Lafargeville. Thomas Wills, he's sole owner. Been there since 1992. Locked gates, fences, across all property is fenced, frontage of the property, yes. The yard is adjacent to public highway, the fence is 50 feet from there, yes. A fee of $25 accompanies this application, signed by Thomas Wills. Need a motion to accept this application.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Dale, second by Gene, to accept the application here from Thomas Wills for a junkyard permit. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Last one we already did, introduce the local law number 3 for the sewer ordinance, so now we go back to our public hearing in Sandy.
Okay, this is the part that's real boring unless you're in some of these districts. I'm gonna start with the easy one, and it's just a matter of, I'll tell you the way the budget is right now, and if you wanna make changes, now's the time where we need to. Do you want? So we'll do Edgewood, because there's only one.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Yep.
No offense, but we'll let you.
I thought to myself, I don't wanna do this with everybody, I mean, I will gladly. Anybody else want copies? I made lots. So this is just Edgewood. It's very, very simple. Question is, do you wanna go up? I don't, anybody want? With Edgewood, those who have followed it over the years, Edgewood was very far behind. They had a deficit fund balance, which, obviously we know is bad, and we searched, and we don't.
When Sandy says over the years, I just wanna make it clear that this is over different owners too.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so we've tried to figure out, I mean, we went back years, I'm not talking, this isn't a 1 or 2 year thing, this is a 10, 15 year thing. And once we got new boards and I got here and Brett got here, it was like, okay, we can't have this. So we've been chipping away at it. Then a couple years ago, we really pulled the bandage off and started charging them a lot in O&M just because we're trying to get that deficit down.
And we also had our accountant, Michael Hassan, go back through the financials of this. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Sandy, but I just wanna say that he traced this back, and that's how come we can say it's over multiple owners, because he found it way back. That
What we believe happened is, when the system was put in, the master meter was supposed to be paid for by the previous owner. And we think they didn't, and the town ended up paying for it, and that was the big expense. That's what we think.
That's back when
Anyway.
Sandy was supervisor.
Yep. So anyways, we're narrowing in on it. If we do a 2% increase, which is what I recommend, it would be an extra $26. Right now, this year, their O&M is $1,300 a quarter, $5,200. 2% increase would take it to $1,326. You can see the second page. I tried to do a lot more this year with consumption rates, and it doesn't show a whole lot for Edgewood, because they're one meter, one customer. What the meter reads is what they pay, and it flushes. So you can see how much, the village is charging us for their water, what we've charged them, the fund balance, how much each quarter we've been putting towards the fund balance. And because there aren't a lot of bills per se with that. We're just trying to get that fund balance into a positive position. Source of supply, in my mind, could go up. It's currently at 6,500, as you can see from what we've paid right now, and we've still got 1 quarter left in the estimate. I think we're gonna be up around 7,900 for this year, so I would increase it.
I mean, just my feelings here, because I've been involved with this number in this account for a long time, and it's been a struggle every time. And it's been hard on the customer also.
I'm going to say that if this were to be moved over to the village, it would be a lot harder on the customer.
Yep, I agree. I know the way the arithmetic works, so I understand what you're saying.
But, so the basic question is, leave it alone, or should we, do the 2%?
The 2% will make us whole next year?
Yes, it should.
Yes.
We should be narrowing right in.
I'd say increase to
2%.
I concur.
I'll agree with that.
Okay,
I agree with it too.
with the 2%, because we have to have motions for any changes at this point. My recommendation, and you tell me if you wanna do it, we would increase, source of supply 83204.20 account from 6,500 to 7,500. We're also going to increase 83402.20 transmission and distribution equipment from 4357 to 4661. This would increase expenses $1,304, and we would also need to increase the revenue side, 2140.20 metered water sales to 1304, increase it by 1304. If you're good with that, somebody make a motion.
That's our motion by Gene, need a second by Tim. Any discussion on that motion?
Can I just ask a silly question? So even
There are no silly questions.
if they use a hell of a lot more water for some reason, they still have to pay that.
Yep.
So the source of supply isn't a hard number.
No.
That's variable. So you're really only adjusting the markup on the source of supply and the O&M. So
Correct. Yep.
just for clarity.
Yep.
Okay. Did I do all those in favor?
Not yet, but you will.
Any more discussion? No. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Excellent.
Okay, that's the easy one. next easy one is Carnegie Bay, because they do not have capital, and they don't have any other, customers running through them. Let me make sure I have enough for the board. Any other people coming through them?
Thank you.
All right, we left. So Carnegie Bay only has 13 customers, or 13 customers, 15 EDUs. There is one customer in this district that is always going to complain, because the reason for this district at this point is because their water was contaminated. The village contaminated their water. The village paid to have this put in. And they feel they should not have to pay ever. Well, that is not reality. They were another district that had a huge negative fund balance. We broke even. We are there. We're there. We're gonna actually be in the positive this year. So the question is, with the way the budget is currently done, do I have my thing? Because just as Rob and I'm so happy you said what you said, Rob, the source of supply only gets used, it's not a hard number, because it fluctuates. So that's only being used, so I always take that out of my O&M numbers, because they pay for that separately. It's paid for through a separate line item. So when Nicole looks at the source of supply and she fluctuates that a great amount, because for whatever reason, I don't know, sometimes it has a big impact on that O&M. This year, it would, the way it's proposed right now, it would go from 111.25 down to 183 per quarter. Am I doing that
Sandy,
right?
Yeah, you're reading that right.
Okay.
Sandy, one of the points I wanted to make is that way back when we first saw this district, started looking at this district and saw the problem, that there were problems, one of the problems was the fact that the money that they were charging for reserves, or for, what was that figure called? But remember, it was so low, it was $5.
Yeah, they didn't for years.
They didn't have an operation and maintenance fund, did they?
They didn't. And not only that, but because it is such a short district, and you'll see that a lot of the users are only there in the summer. And so the water gets stagnant, and they gotta flush the water a lot. So you have a lot of water getting flushed that's not being paid for, and they weren't paying any O&M. So when this goes on for 7, 8, 10, 12 years, then you end up, oh goodness, the rest of the taxpayers have been paying for this. And the law says that we can't do that.
So that's the reason that's been adjusted 2 or 3 times, for that purpose.
And at one point, about 3 years ago, there were some high increases, and the schedule is down there. There were some high increases, because we finally just said, we gotta pull the Band-Aid off, and they complain every year. So we can leave it the same as what it is right now. You can go with the budget and let it come down. Dank, and now this dank figure at the bottom, remember, this is a dank figure from 2018 when that report was done, I believe. So that $4,500 that they recommended that we capture each year for replacement costs and things like that, that is now 8 years old. So I'm okay. That's your choice. I'm okay with leaving it at the same rate of 111.25, because we are in a better position, and that would be a little bit, that would be more than the $4,500 which I think with inflation, we need to be a little bit more than $4,500. Or if you wanna do 2%, we can do 2%, it's totally up to you.
So you have 4,500 in fund balance right now? Is that
No.
what you're saying?
No,
You don't have any
that's
fund
what,
balance?
no, we broke even. We
So you don't have
find-
any fund balance? In case if Jamie's gotta buy parts for a hydrant or a meter, you got none?
We got,
Okay, just a point.
there's a little bit, there's probably 3,000 there now, cause we've
Okay.
had this year to be gaining some.
To come out of the red.
To come out of the red, so we've probably got a $3,000 in that account.
Okay.
But when you're looking at a system that is, how old?
That was put in when Sampy was supervisor.
So it's got.
Late 90s, we probably did that.
Yeah.
So, you've got a system that's 25 years old, it's gonna start failing.
Well, there's
Bottom
curb-
line.
There's curb stops, there's a couple hydrants, the meters, so, the individual meters, all that stuff.
I mean, I think we gotta start, I would make sure we keep building a reserve, so.
Don't go down.
My recommendation
Don't-
increase from.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't go down.
if anything,
That's what I don't,
my
So I have a-
recommendation is to bump it up, even if it's a little bit every year.
2%.
Keep pace.
I have a motion for a 2% increase. I have a motion for a 2% increase, Sandy. Second to that motion? Second?
I'll second it.
He's shaking his head. I can hear.
Second by Dal. Any discussion on this?
I think the discussion that we already had justifies it, and then to keep up with inflation and to make sure that we can sustain this, for replacement parts, it's, not getting cheaper to replace stuff, and given the eight years, when Dank recommended 4,500, that's probably 65 to 7,000, if not 10,000.
Yeah.
So we need to keep up
We need
with
to start, or keep
making
building.
sure we have a balance in there that can, repair the system if the
Right.
if the need arises, so.
and you can tell that the usage summary page, that fluctuates quite a bit, but for the most part, we might not bill enough to cover what the village bills us on one, but the next one, it might be a little higher. That's in the ballpark. We are allowed, and we do, charge the customers 15% more than what,
The village charges us.
the village charges us. So, that 15%, because there's no closed systems, is supposed to be for flushing hydrants, leaks, that sort of thing. You know, if you're in the ballpark and you're breaking even there, to me, you're good, you're good.
Right.
Carnegie Bay is right there. They don't have a huge amount of loss. Every once in a while, there might be something, but for the most part, at least this year and the last couple years, it's been good, in my opinion. There hasn't been anything gross. So,
So I got a motion and a second on the floor. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none.
I will calculate the correct figures and put them by line item, and that will, for, Otter Street.
I'm just looking at that. I'm looking back at the agenda.
Do I wanna do Otter
Looking at
Street or
that.
Flow?
But catch. I want to get this here someplace.
You're gonna have to help us on this. So, Otter Street, boy, we are so lucky. We have this one district that is so healthy. Man, we shouldn't charge them anything, because they get money that falls out of the sky.
Sandy, I don't mean to interrupt you, but after we do this part of it, okay, we've got to do the resolution, or have a discussion about the two new bank accounts.
Yep.
Okay? You won't.
Water and sewer just reminded you, huh?
You won't.
So, Otter Street, has a really, they're very fortunate because they have Keewaydin State Park. When Route 12 went in, the pumping station was put on Route 12 up by Williams Gas Station. So everything on Route 12, on the side that the pump station is on, down, and right up around the corner of Otter Street is actually getting water billed on the Route 12 district. Okay?
Question.
Yeah.
Because we talk about pump station, we talk about town or the village using their water tower to push our water to it, right? Those pumps that are on Route 12, do they do anything in pushing the water up the Route 12 district?
Oh, yeah.
Or are they for?
They do everything, yeah, they pressurize.
They do the whole thing then?
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to go to the village about that.
So,
That's the pressure, it's not the water pressure from the tower,
Right.
right?
There is no tower.
Right, you supply them with,
They're charging us for tower. Right, Sandy?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So, Otter Street gets charged, what was the rate I put?
you know,
I didn't keep myself a sheet. So Otter Street gets billed, what did I tell you earlier, $3.68 per thousand. Route 12 gets billed $6.49, it's like $2.80 more. And I think in part of the village's calculation is because they're saying that the Route 12 needs the water towers to get the pressure. Well, that's not true because we have our own pumping station. If anything, it's Otter Street that should be getting charged more because they're using the towers for the pressure.
that's the way it was originally set up.
So anyways, there's more questions there. But these 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 customers that on your consumption sheet for water for Otter Street on the back side, they are all being charged by us $3 and, well, 15% more, $3.68 plus 15%. But the village is charging us, because it's going through the Route 12 meter, $6.48. I got those actual figures on Route 12, that's why I wasn't sure which one to start with. Route 12 needs to be paying back Otter Street needs to be paying back Route 12 for those customers. My question is it legal, is there anything with Keewaydin, because Keewaydin State Park is the huge one. Is there any reason why we can't bill them Route 12 water rates?
I'd have to look back at the ordinances and how the district was formed. You know, so,
Now they're being billed Otter Street water, which is $2.80 less.
but I'd have to look at it.
See what the agreement says.
I'd have to look at the agreements,
And the other thing,
the IMAs.
so that's a huge issue that needs to be figured out, because in the Route 12 ordinance, it states that every EDU will pay Otter Street $48 a year as a pass-through wheeling charge.
Wheeling charge.
As a wheeling charge.
Yep.
So as,
That was added later, though. That wasn't the original way.
yeah, and I wish that was out of there.
Yeah.
Because
That got changed by Joe.
yes, that's terrible, because what's happening, as you have up there in the top of your budget, total expenses, we put the capital on the tax bills, source of supply I take out because that's not a hard number. So we've got $22,000 left for O&M. Otter Street is very fortunate because they have Keewaydin. Keewaydin pays the town every year $26,515. So what I do is I figure out their usage for the year, and based off of our chart, they figure out how much they would be paying in capital if they were a regular taxpayer. So this year, it equaled out, they were 16 units for water, for capital. Does that make sense? So that's why I base the rest of it down to 50, and they're gonna be paying on their tax bills for one unit, $381, because they've got to take 6,000 units off, and we also take off what that wheeling charge from Route 12 off the capital, which this year, because Route 12 has 284 EDUs times $48, they're getting $13,000 taken off of that. So Route 12 is just paying in Otter Street, and that's driving me crazy. So using this year's numbers, the quarterly rate for Otter Street is gonna go from a whopping $9.25 down to $7.50.
That doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't, because
No.
Route 12 and everybody is paying so much into Otter Street. Otter Street is just ended up not paying anything.
Yeah, that wheeling charge got added afterwards, and I can't remember exactly.
It's $48 per EDU. I would like it to be $48 per parcel.
That's not the way the district was originally formed, with any wheeling charge, right? But somewhere that got.
I got a question about that. Is Otter Street considered part of the village, or is Otter Creek?
Otter Creek's the line.
The bridge is the line.
The creek is the line.
What part of Otter Street are we talking about? Part that's in the village part?
No,
Or
the
part
town part, the town part.
But also when the Otter Street Water District's been around a long time, all right?
It was our first water.
50 years. Yeah. And what happened is the pipes were it was a mess, okay? And they had pipes running all over the place, and they needed to replace the piping. And the village piece from, the bridge up to Church Street, that 600 feet was junk, all right? They were having water breaks on that. So the town agreed to replace that line at no cost to the village. That was the hookup fee. And I think that was actually intended to be, I'd have to look at the original IMA, I don't know if I even have it, you'd have to dig through it. But that hookup fee, that was substantial to replace that 600 feet at the time. And then we did the water district, and we put all new lines in everywhere. But I don't think they were, because they paid to have the water main replaced, I don't think they were supposed to be charged distribution. They were only to be charged storage and filtration, those two components.
I think you're right on that.
Yeah,
I
and they
remember
weren't
you
supposed to
certainly
pay any distribution.
That's because they paid a $500,000 deal for the intersection up by Route 5, or up by the.
The same premise was when Redwood came on.
Yeah.
Redwood replaced the water line all the way across in front of the school on, what's that street?
Catherine.
Bolton.
Oh.
The town paid to replace that line on Bolton,
Yes, they did.
right? And so Redwood
That was their.
has their
hookup
own
fee.
tank and their own pumps, and the deal was that Redwood was only supposed to be charged for the cost to produce the water filtration plant. Because they weren't using the village's distribution system at all.
Well, that makes sense now as to why.
That's the way it was all started.
That makes a lot of sense as to why Redwood's water is cheaper and Outer Street's is
Because they just
cheaper.
pay for cost to produce. And Redwood, or Otter Street, they didn't have pumps or tanks, so Otter Street was supposed to pay cost to produce, plus they benefited from the water storage tank. Now Route 12, on the other hand, Route 12 paid a cash hookup fee when they hooked up. And they have their own pump station, right? So they were only supposed to be charged for cost to produce. Because they don't need the village's system, either pumping, the pressure or the distribution, I think. I'd have to go back and try to find documentation. But then, all of a sudden, and I remember Joe Russell changed this, because I think he was split between, he was doing the village's work and the town's work, and he changed the Route 12 district to pay, I think they paid distribution or storage, or one or the other, I don't remember, and that got changed. I disagreed with it.
No, did they pay because when we did Otter Street, we went up Route 12 as far as, Napa?
We did.
That was so we could tie in.
So we had money left over in Otter Street project, so we went across and down as, we would've had to give grant money back. So we went all the way as far as we could, but we didn't tie them in, right? We tied them in as part of the Route 12 project.
So getting back to these numbers and Sandy's report, I just don't like the idea of having something go down.
Well,
And this is Otter Street, right? This has got a healthy reserve. This has got
it's
two.
got a healthy reserve, but again, it's because they're collecting the money
They've been overturned.
for 3 people that is being charged to Route 12, so they need to there needs to be a journal entry this year, and they need to reimburse Route 12, period. End of discussion.
Do we have a rough dollar amount?
Well, the question is gonna be, do we pay back Route 12 for the $6.49 that they're being charged? Or do we pay them back just what we collected of the $3.68?
Well, there's really 2 issues though. There's the wheeling charge,
The
whether
wheeling
that's
charge.
fair, the $40-some dollars. But there's also the issue of what the village is charging Route 12, and is that the right amount? I don't know what the documentation says, but, because that's what's putting the hurt on Route 12, the Route 12 district, probably. I don't know, are they in the red, Route 12, not to jump ahead?
Well, that's the next part I'm gonna show you when we come to Route 12. Route 12 has probably got a 35 to 50% water loss. I mean, we lose money every quarter on usage, a lot. It's not just a little bit, there's a huge water loss problem somewhere. And they've tried, we thought it was down by, Rockledge, they've dug down there. I mean, in the wintertime, we look for where there's, snow's melted and not. It's been going on for a couple of years, and that's why I said to them today, I said, we gotta get you involved. How can we figure out where these water losses are? Because Route 12 has a substantial one. And I don't see any lakes anywhere.
I've had rural water leak detection, at the marshes and stuff. They can't hear nothing. I mean, I don't know what.
Is it a meter problem? Have the meters all been calibrated?
No, that's what
I first looked there, the water might be a meter problem, and not a water loss problem.
Maybe.
Well, we can talk about that
Yeah.
offline, but.
But we do need help there.
So what do we wanna do about this particular district? Do we wanna not take any action? And
We gotta set a budget, don't you? You can't just wait and kick this
Yeah.
can down the road, we have to set a budget. So just like any other, I would propose a 2% increase, and then you guys can make the sausage offline, figure out, the wheeling charge, and you can figure out the Route 12 stuff and the historical stuff, and then, throughout the next, budget year, we need to, calibrate the meters as a first option to find out where the losses are. Then we need to talk with the village about Route 12 and this wheeling charge offline. But for the sustainability, we need to have a budget, so I propose a 2% increase, cause that's what we've done across the line so far, for inflation only.
Okay.
Are you good with that?
So that's Tim's motion, need a second for that motion, second by Gene, any discussion on that?
We do, like, I can't overemphasize enough, I mean, I feel the pain with you too, Sandy, is, the leakage and the loss, or the potential, leak, or the lack of, calibration needs to be, a priority, to make sure that we can either, it's not a leak, or it is a leak. We talked about that for a couple weeks now, and we owe that to the public.
I was gonna say, I'd talked to Jamie about giving us an explanation of where we're at there a while ago. Because we found a couple things that we thought were gonna be a big part of the gap.
But wouldn't you, if one of your meters wasn't calibrated right, wouldn't you see a difference like in, the town of Orleans? I mean, would they bill for more than, I mean, there should be a change someplace, or somebody that's getting more water.
Yeah, we'd have to look at it all, and
When you say calibrations, because I know that's one thing they've talked about down in the village, are you talking about the master meters themselves?
master meters, yeah.
Okay, so you're not talking about
The other
household
meters do
meters.
wear out after, a mutating disc, the old style water meters, you still have a lot of those, they're good for 15 to 20 years.
The one that's in Route 12 pump station, that's electronic, I've never cared for that one. I know that, and the rotary
Is that a turbine, or is it a compound?
combo.
It's a compound.
And you guys can make the sausage offline and realize, and I understand where you're coming from, Jamie, usually if you had a spike, it would be indicative of a leak. If you had a consistent, you're starting to lose money and lose money and lose money, that would be more indicative of a calibration issue, because it was a slow fade, it's gradually getting out of tolerance. But unless you have a check and balance system with the village, us, and potentially New Orleans, there's no really, you can't match up all the numbers, I assume, not being an expert at all of it. But I don't imagine you guys are bouncing each other's numbers from month to month.
Quarter to quarter, I mean, we know what one lead is taking in.
I mean, we don't know what they're billing out,
Right.
and, we don't know that kind of stuff, so we know how much we're sending to them.
Got work to do.
Okay. Definitely.
All in favor, 2% increase?
Aye.
Yep.
All opposed, aye.
No, this one's Route 12. And the consumption sheet on Route 12 has, more in there. Has, better numbers for Route 12, the totals and that sort of thing.
Do you know what this reach, is, like, it's the same, attorney's statement of reach?
So, same thing with the capital and all of that. Capital actually, this year goes down. In most of the budgets, the capital is going down every year. There's I think one that it goes up, but, it's going from 328 down to 316. And the way this budget was written, again, it's going down, which I'm totally against, and I had sent you guys all of that. We had some growth in Route 12, which is good, because we didn't see any growth in the other ones, but we had some growth. For capital, we had, hold on. we had a 6.5 growth. Two of them were for, water usage increases, and then we had 2.5 new parcels and a split parcel, so that gave us 2.5 extra more, which helped with our amount going down. Source of supply, if you're looking at the consumption report, a lot of loss. So right there on the consumption, Rob, that first quarter, when we add in the Route 12 totals, or the Otter Street totals, we only accounted for 1,536,000, and we were billed 3,061,000. That's a huge loss. You know, we took in,
How's the village get their meter reading?
Better read it.
You read it.
Take a picture of it. Now, was this with, Key Waden and the change with, Swan Bay, the 500,000 with Swan Bay? Is this the everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
so we don't have the numbers yet for the fourth quarter, or third quarter for the village,
So how long has this been going on?
couple of years.
I mean,
Well, we'll talk about it.
okay, forget it.
I don't know, I can go back, cause I have been keeping consumption reports for the last couple of years, and I've been watching that they've been losing a lot. And then when I looked at a couple of the finance reports, I was like, oh my goodness, Route 12 is really almost going backwards.
Is there a fund balance for Route 12?
Not much at once. Because it's being eaten up by water costs and paying back Route 12 or Otter Street, wheeling charge and all of that. So, I did do the actual calculation. If we have that $3 and a total increase, you look at capital and operation and maintenance, would only mean a total of $1.54 increase. Because we've had increase in EDUs because of people joining the district, and, Swan Bay's the car wash went up. But we need the numbers in the budget were really screwy. So if you're okay with the $1.54 increase overall, I've got what you have to have the new figures for. If you wanna do that.
Say that again, Sandy, if we're okay with the,
So it shows, when you look at strictly what you're bringing in, compared to last year's, it looks like we're doing a 4% increase. But per individual, it's not a 4% increase because we've got more people. So you know what I'm saying? The more people actually brings the cost down, where it would be $1.54 increase per individual.
I mean, we have some serious work to do on water loss.
Yeah. So, and if you wanna take up to each individual getting a 2% increase, I'll refigure those numbers too. because of the water loss and stuff, but
What's everybody
That would
think?
be the consistent way of doing it, but, yeah, I mean, I think we really need either before or no later than, if possible, by the next board meeting, we need to have some possible, reasons or answers, if possible, and I get it, that might not happen just because of, but at least we've explored, everything that we've already talked about. But I think the 2% is consistent with what we've already done.
Or the others, yeah.
And there's growth in this
I
area.
think we keep it the same
Yep.
across all water districts,
Yeah.
plain and simple.
You good with that, Dale?
Slap the table and go.
yep,
Consistent?
yep,
I think
okay.
consistent is a good answer to my question.
He may have just found my problem. Maybe I
No
didn't,
better time than now.
yeah, maybe I didn't calculate Town of Orleans properly.
At 85,000 gallons, you know they're using more than 85,000.
Well, do your homework, let us know.
Okay,
Yeah. Yep.
That's the other master meter reading.
Yes.
Yeah, we
can deal with this at the next meeting, Sandy.
okay. And that
Yeah.
could be as simple as where it's at.
Cause we have to look and, that meters have multiple tens.
Yeah, so it could be 8 million, or it could be 800,000.
What'd you find, Jim?
There's two account numbers, only one.
Town of Orleans,
Should be higher, right here.
Town of
85,000
Orleans.
should be way more than that, is what Jamie's saying.
He said multiples of 10, so put a 0 on those.
It might be,
800.
Or even 100, because
And I think it's multiple tens, cause that's as low as that meter will go.
let us know.
So, we'll check on that.
Yep.
Do you want me to calculate everything at 2%?
Yes.
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 We voted on
Okay.
that.
All right,
You make a motion in a second for the record.
So, motion by Dale, second by Tim to go with the 2% for the Route 12 water district. Any discussion on that?
No, we've had it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none.
all right. 2 left, we're down to Redwood. And I've done these numbers so much in the last 3 days that my mind's just done.
I would think so.
Okay. Oh, yeah, but it's only one sheet. So that's a good thing, because I can't not do consumption for Route 12. I can now with the new program, which I love, but
Oh, did you find it?
I can't do it with,
Oh, we don't have any small accounts in there. Oh, that was good. Does it have? No, because
this has got way too much in it, and we've got to cut the budget somewhere.
go through the master. The captain has to pay.
So capital, we're looking at 2025, capital, this is the one district where capital does go up each year. So their capital on their taxes is gonna go from 338.25 to 342, basically 25, so it's going up $4. We don't have any control over that. The operation and maintenance, the way the figures are set up right now, it's going to go up
Right. Okay.
25, almost $40. It's just, that's too much. We have had EDUs go down, we're losing EDUs there. We had the Eugene Catlin house go from 3.25 down to 1. So we lost 2.25 EDUs there. The Brent Story, it's a vacant building now, it's not a DOH, 1.5, that came down a half an EDU. Usage at the laundromat's down, that came down, and I don't know where the other two was at this point in time. There's another 1.5.
So the new
That was
Redwood
done,
sewer ordinance that we're looking for,
The red apartment building right next to Nor's store that went from multiple apartments to, what was it?
That would've been a couple years ago, though.
Was it?
Which that could've been when it was, but I just know this is where we're at now. I don't think they can handle a $40 increase. That's a lot.
no, they definitely can't.
Their quarterly bill, oh, I have it on there. Their quarterly bill right now is $93. The way it's written right now, it's gonna go up to $102 per quarter just for O&M. That's before they turn the water on. And they've got sewer on top of it.
And why is it so much higher?
There was two things in the budget that got put in there. There was two reserves for $25,000 each.
One was for,
One was for telemetry, one was for, what's the budget?
Painting of the water tower maybe?
this is the first year that we're putting money away for telemetry, is that right? We talked about it last year, did we do it?
I don't think so.
And we put 25,000 away. What was the second amount that we?
That's what I'm looking up. Reserves for repairs. And the other thing that did actually, I think where Nicole tried to save a little bit was she reduced that source of supply by $10,000, and that's, as Rob said, it's not a hard variable when it comes to figuring out your EDU rate, so that wasn't, I mean, it could very well needed to be dropped, I'm not saying that, but you can't use that in your percentages as to where your rate is going, because it's not a hard cost. And so under, see, and she took.
So we've got reserve for telemetry of 25,000 and reserve for repairs of 25,000. Is the reserve for repairs because we're worried about the main line from Alex Bay to Redwood? To pay for the.
I don't know how much, you've spent some money on repairs, right? You've had breaks, I don't know what you spent last year.
Mm-hmm. I see that repair that we just did was $2,500, $2,300.
I don't know, why would you take transmission and distribution equipment from $39,000 last year to $15,000 this year? Drop it 24 and then just put it, and then record it as reserves for repair. 'Cause I think we've been using that much with all the breaks we've had. We've come.
Those breaks don't add up to be that expensive.
What are they, $3,000 a piece, you
We had
said,
a
$2,500?
$4,000 one, but we've had a
$10,000?
$2,300 and a $1,500 one.
Okay, those aren't bad at all.
And I think that's over 2 years.
You know, you might have to think about financing, like the telemetry, taking a short-term note out, and, you know, telemetry is probably good for 15 years. You can probably finance that over 10, take the sting out of, I don't know what the Did you get a price for the telemetry from Don Ballway or somebody, what did it cost?
I called and,
He had a price a couple of years ago, it was 200.
yeah. I tried to, what's his name is? Carl.
Carl?
He was supposed to stop up,
Never did.
never did.
I'm just saying, some of that stuff you really can't afford to pay for. You might need to finance over a period of time.
That 25, basically, you add that 25 under the
you wanna
other
work on this one
that's
more?
40. That's 40. Here's what I'd like. They're paying 93 right now. A $3 increase,
A what?
a $3 increase, I think more than that. I don't know, you guys tell me how.
That's $3 per quarter, $12 a year, right?
What's 2%?
Yeah. That's 2%, that's what we've been sticking with.
Cause right now you're at like 6. Your proposed increase right now is 6%.
2%
Which
is
is
$1.86.
which is a $40 increase. So 2% would be like 12. And your capital on taxes is going up 4, so that means you can have $8 left in your O&M, which would be $2 a quarter. So raise your O&M to $92 a quarter, and that'll be right about your 2%,
I was gonna say, I like the 2% figures.
okay? So 2% is gonna have, I need to calculate O&M goes up to $95 per quarter, which would be an $8 increase for O&M, and then the capital increase is 4, that's a $12 increase for the year, to get you at your 2%. And I'll figure out where and how. I
think Rob had a good point of taking out a short-term loan for telemetry and not trying to put $25,000 a year away for it.
Take it out of the yearly budget, this doesn't make sense. No. So, I'll take a motion for 2%.
Yep.
Have a motion from Tim for 2%.
Yep.
Second from Dale for 2%, and this is, for Redwood Water. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none.
Do your resolution for the bank accounts.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say, right there.
Yeah, one left,
Go.
yeah, one left.
We got one
12
left.
sewer, which is,
The joint district?
oh no, not Route 12 sewer. Route 12 sewer, we don't have any control over, it's going
Right.
up $10 a year.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Redwood sewer. Real quick, it's almost done. This one, nope, that one was mine. This one I thought was dead on.
Not bad.
So I recommended no.
One page, half of
One
it.
page, Redwood sewer is easy.
Expenditures,
Yeah, from, August to October, 5 million.
That's not a quarter. August, September. Oh, yeah,
So, yeah.
August 1st to that. So that's right. That's District 14. How come there was no readings
I don't know.
here?
You good with that?
Good, I'm good.
Yep. I make a motion for
I'll second it.
2% increase.
First year.
Got a motion and a second for 2%, motion by
Yep.
Tim, second by Gene, for a 2% increase, any discussion? One thing that we've talked about a little bit in relation to this is the new sewer ordinance will change these numbers, but when we went through this, I think the new sewer ordinance, we were actually gonna have more, correct? And I'm talking about units,
I don't think we're gonna have that many more, the only.
very few, yeah.
Yeah, the only,
Very
there was, the churches, I think, went from a half to a full.
A
There,
couple of people like Vanes and Hipple are
Yeah.
two that we've been, they're gonna see a change in the down direction.
yeah, so I don't think we're gonna see a whole lot of change in EDUs.
So we got a motion for 2%, we got a motion and a second, and discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, none. Next thing I have is resolution number 25 of 2025, a resolution of the town of Alexandria to allow town clerk to open 2 interest-bearing checking accounts and online banking access to the community banks. At a meeting of the town of Alexandria held on October 15th, the following resolution was presented, whereas the town council of the town of Alexandria sees the value in the town clerk to open a tax collection account and a water sewer account in community bank, which are interest-bearing and have online access to the town's community bank accounts. Now therefore be resolved by the town of Alexandria, New York, a motion to adopt the foregoing order was ordered by Councilman who? Councilman Tim Davidson, and seconded by Councilman
Yep,
Dale Honeyman. Upon a roll call vote of the board was duly adopted. Now Sandy, we wanna add here to this motion that as long as there are no fees for the, what's the machine called?
It's a check, remote check,
Yeah, the remote check and the premium account fees.
right.
We'd like to add that as long as those fees are zero.
Yep.
And I talked to the bank, we just don't have the answer yet. So, that's the motion, roll call?
Supervisor Sweet,
Yes.
Councilman Davidson,
Yes.
Councilman Honeyman,
yes,
Councilman Crane.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other new business?
So what do we have? Nothing, we got executive, that's it?
Can we go back to, 'cause I didn't wanna talk in front of all those people, but I do wanna bring up 2 things.
Okay.
Under public comment for the budget. But I'm gonna go out there instead, because I'm not speaking as the town clerk, I am speaking as a taxpayer. I wanna talk about wages. I don't understand why it is proposed to give a 6% increase in wages. As a village board member that has gone through this overpaying people and the effect, the ripple effect it has in coming years, because once you give it, you cannot take it away. The general rule this town has used is that the standard has been the,
Union contract?
the union contract, which was negotiated a couple years ago at 4%. And I know during COVID, we had some high inflation. Our inflation rates, I don't believe right now are that high. I haven't heard, I know myself, I haven't heard of people being disgruntled about a 4% wage increase. That's still a little bit higher than I believe what the thing is right now. I feel our big things that are increasing are health insurance. Health insurance is on a huge rise. I mean, that's why the budget is shut down right now, because they can't agree, because insurance is gonna, the government wants to take away some of the insurance. Our insurance premiums are gonna go up, so if we give 6% cash, and we have, just say 5% in insurance, that's 11 to start. And then, New York State, with the retirement funds that we're in, when we pay 89% of the retirement portions of their pay, I think that's a big increase on the town. And I know I'm only saying go down 2%, but I think 4% is plenty, because I think with all the other things and the way it goes up, I don't understand the 6% increase, I really don't. That's all I'll say about that, I don't agree with it, and, I mean, sure, I'd love to make more money, but if I'm unsatisfied with my pay, I can go somewhere else. I feel as a taxpayer, a 6% increase with all the other stuff is too much. Also, as a taxpayer, and I have not read the new policy that you had, I hadn't seen that on the reserve funds, but I know just on the sheet you gave me earlier today, we have a lot of, reserve funds that are not appropriated, that are, am I saying it right?
Designated?
Yeah, non-designated, whatever. This is my recommendation, because I feel this board is very, very, most of the times, very, very fiscally, and you look in deep into things, and I like that. Just a few years ago, when Redwood Water had some major repairs, and we were gonna ban for it, and then bond, the premiums were so high that it was like, oh my goodness, we can't do that. So we chose to let it go in a deficit for a while, for 3 years, and we're gonna make it, we're gonna pay that money back. My recommendation for all this unfunded money is, Rob, what, right now, if we don't get any other grant funding for Route 12 sewer, I think I've heard, you know, $2.25, $2.5 million to do that section up to the, Meadow Lane?
Mm-hmm.
What, is that about your guess?
Right.
If we have, my recommendation is, if we have $3 million sitting in bonds and stuff, why don't we earmark that for that sewer project, not ban, Tim, you talked about the banning, and when I presented you guys with the budget, you said, what about this project or that? Why don't we borrow the money from ourselves, because we have it? We'll still get whatever the law says that we can do that for special funds, so long as we pay back. If we're currently getting 3.25 in interest, rather than taking the time to have to go and ban for all of this, we know we've got $1 million coming from the state. Why not say, okay, we're gonna take up to 2.5 million from our CDs, get this project done, and get reimbursed, and once it's done, you have your final numbers, and then we'll go bond for it, and then the people within that unit that district are paying it off. I would just like to see, rather than, I'm so worried about the state coming in and saying, you guys have not been budgeting well because you've got all of this undesignated fund balance. Because there's very clear laws that how much you're supposed to have. Those are my only 2 comments. I think we should pay for it and then pay ourselves back with interest. And not pay an outside company, ban people way more money.
I don't know how, well, I do know how public sessions are handled up here, but, I will say this, just to kind of give you my opinion as one board member, outside of the public sessions, but, one, we're audited every year, so we're governed on what we can have for fund balances. Based upon those audits, we're given recommendations, to designate things in certain reserve funds, which we're doing. So, I think that's well in hand, and to your point, you know, you bring up some valid points. And to go along with our comprehensive plan and our priorities, as far as what the public has identified as our priorities, you may be right, but the conversations that we've had offline is that as we have grants and as new I guess, challenges, are presented to the town, we need to have the flexibility to address them. As you know, you're well aware of, some of the, town barn stuff, the leak stuff, any of that type of stuff. We need to be able to have the finances to flex accordingly, to take care of emergencies. But, I think, I'm glad you reinforced the fact that you think that we're being, fiscally, smart, because we realize we can't do it all. And we are, and I'm glad that you think as far as the, overall pay raises, and what we negotiate with union members or non-union members, is a negotiation along those same lines to make sure that it's a sustainable, model, to make sure that we're not running into that, 3 years or 4 years down the line, or even next year, that we find ourselves in, hey, wait a minute, we have to raise taxes, astronomically to make sure that we can cover, this continually, the beast that we feed. So one, commend you, especially as an employee, to say, hey, yeah, it's enough. And I wish a lot of employees would say, hey, I got it pretty good, and I don't always want to strive for the best or the most at the expense of the overall town. So great comments, and I'll leave it at that.
Sandy, we've been working on this reserve fund for 3 or 4 months. We have a paper up here that we're planning on putting, and this talks about the money that you're talking about, because we've accumulated these monies. And it talks about us putting $1,500,000 in 2 different reserve funds, and the letter I got from Mike Lasan today said that he thinks that would be adequate. So that's just the direction we're going in. So.
It's great, it's a great point, and it's a great discussion when you get to the level of grants and you look at things that we wanna do, to, Rob's point earlier, and the gentleman that were here, hey, maybe we are in a position, that we can, possibly fund, and until we get grants, the other part of, the water line, or whatever we're proposing to do, to increase the district. But, it's a delicate balance, and that's why I think you need to do comprehensive, plans and strategic planning, to make sure that if, everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. And then to make sure that you have, the reserves in those designated funds, appropriately across the board, so that we can execute. Whether or not, and we've seen it firsthand. You don't have to go very far when you go over the highway, and see what, a new dump truck costs. It's 100% increase. Any vehicle, any equipment over there is almost 100% increase. So then we need to be able to, have the sustainability and the flexibility, in trying to keep inflation down, trying to keep taxes down, so that we are, balancing, the taxpayers. Hey, the shock and awe, we just did it, with Redwood. Hey, is it right for them to see a $50 increase on their water? No. So how do we holistically, look at ways of, if it's the telemetry, how do we fund that to keep the shock and awe, for people that are on fixed income, to make sure, hey, this is sustainable. They are gonna be okay, because of the people in this room making sure they're gonna be okay. So, great discussion. We're better together by design. None of us have a silver bullet, but collectively we can try to get things right.
Does anybody have anything else? So these public hearings remain open, or the public hearing?
The public hearing? Yep.
Remains open, okay. If not, I'll take a motion to go into executive session to discuss.
Litigation, wasn't it?
To discuss the work history of a past employee and possible litigation.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Tim, second by Gene. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no.
Okay, buddy, just don't plug it, okay? I can't turn the power bar off? No, don't do that.